Everyone, and welcome back to Double Sleep MTG. I'm Guy. This week we got Seth on the podcast.
How's
We're
it
gonna
going,
start trying
guys?
to do these podcasts at bare minimum every set release. Hopefully, get you a tier list. If not that, just try to give you some of our opinions on some of the new cards predating the set. Uh, as I said, we got Seth on, and today we're gonna go over cards from MH3 and the Commander set, give you our opinions on it and how we think these things will play out, whether they'll see play, they're busted and are going to be staples, or people are just smoking something and they think it's going to be played like this week. Spoiler. All right, but before we get into it, I want to do as I do always and thank everyone for all the love and support that we get. We are well on our sub goal of 500 before July. I'm certain we can hit it. Just continue to like, share, comment, subscribe, and let's get into this gameplay. Motherfucker. I just recorded the intro for the gameplay.
Damn. I might keep that in there just for the fucking laughs.
That's all I got. I just wanted to get that knocked out of the way. Seth, do you have anything before we get into this?
No, I don't, and I'm ready to get started, guys.
All right, cool. First, I want to start off with the commanders, or the cards that I think could potentially be CEDH commanders out of the set. First off, I have the Necrobloom.
The Necrobloom. That's the Abzan guy, right?
Correct. So the Necrobloom, he is 1 white, black, and green for a 2/7. That man is sorry. That thing is thick because it's a legendary plant creature. It can block everything, and this thing can block an Itali. So its abilities are, which are the important part. It has landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, create a 0/1 green plant creature token. If you control 7 or more lands with different names, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token instead. So it's got the Field of the Dead ability on there, which in a singleton format, as we saw from the Golos ban, is just absolutely nuts. So it can block everything as well as continue to pump out blockers for you, as well as sack fodder.
Well,
And the second ability says lands in your graveyard have dredge too. So kind of like Gitrog, it turns all of your lands into a Dakmor cell. I have seen some lists go about this. I don't think you're really going to want to do it the Staxy way, but I'm more looking at it as kind of a updated Gitrog list with silence effects and recursion. Because with the white getting added on, you have access to Sabine's Reclamation, draw engines like Esper Sentinel, you have Ranger Captain to Eos and Silence, you have Grand Abolisher, and then you have the side package of the Gitrog monster with all the dredge in it. So you actually run your Dakmor Salvage, but all of your lands are a Dakmor Salvage. And you, of course, throw the Gitrog in there as well as a win con. But the biggest upside to this card I think I've seen is it gives your Boseiju dredge and your Takenuma dredge. So just blow up all the underworld breaches you want. But also the engine will be is it's a reanimator style deck. It's a Razaketh. It's a protein Hulk deck. You got all that generically good Abzan stuff or generically good just Golgari stuff. Shoot, you can even throw Witherbloom, Apprentice, and Chain of Smog in here if you want, just to have some generically good combos in those colors, kind of like how, because that's essentially Golgari's version of Thassa's Oracle.
Gotcha.
At least in my opinion, it is. But the benefit from the commander is deck filtering. Yes, you're not drawing the cards, but in Abzan, you're typically playing your commander. Your graveyard is your hand in Abzan.
Yeah, now I can see that. I can see the deck filtering. And the white gives you more removal, more spot removal, such as like Path to Exile, Swords to Plowshares, those type effects that can get rid of Dothies. Because a Dothie pretty much Dothie just kind of just shuts this completely down. Now, all right, now we're getting down to where do we want to put this guy? My vote is I'm at either honorable mention or worth a try.
I would like to see it in worth a try. I'm not an Abzan player, so I don't know exactly how to build this. but I know that a lot of people in the community are looking to build it. So I'm gonna throw it in worth a try.
You know,
Because I
you,
know people are going to.
I just
I know the boomer Gitrog fanatics are gonna see this and think they can upgrade their Gitrog deck, and I honestly have hopes for them. Like TNT Gitrogs, they're all the old stuff. I want to see them revamped, and I think this is that for Gitrog.
now I think I actually just thought about something. Tyum, the other Abzan, the Abzan
Yeah,
Stacks commander.
the only other playable Abzan commander in CDH yet.
Yes, absolutely. No, what I was saying is the dredge effect works well as this being in the 99 rather than a commander. I think it would work good in Tyum as a
That it
way to
does.
fuel the graveyard. Because
So that
Tyum,
it definitely does. It's essentially an additional graveyard filler. The only problem with throwing it in time, and it's a very small problem, is you can't recur it with time. But it's essentially a secondary commander in time.
yes, it's kind of like a Thrasios is to Kennen.
Right. I don't know if I'd say it's that powerful, but yeah, I see
Oh,
where you're going with that.
yeah, I mean, you could arguably just take Thrasios and put it at the helm of Kennen and do something along that line, if you really wanted to.
I wouldn't stretch that far, but I understand where you're going.
Yeah, but anyway, okay, so I would say maybe we put this guy in worth a try.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're gonna put him here in worth a try. All right, my turn. Let's get another guy here. We have.
Oh, Domri.
Yeah, we have Eldamri here. Now, Eldamri, I guess this is his last name. We never knew that. Corvecdal. He is a 1 and 2 green legendary creature, elf warrior. You may look at the top card of your library any time. You may cast a creature spell from the top of your library and pay 1 green, tap 2 untapped creatures you control, reveal a card from your hand or the top card of your library. If you reveal a creature this way, you may put it onto the battlefield. Activate only during your turn. So sorcery ability. And he's also a 3/3. I think this might
So I'll
seem.
be honest with you, when I added this one to the list, it was a bit of a stretch to even put it up here in the playable cards. I do have hopes for it just as a generically good elf ball commander. I don't think it'll ever be in the like top 16, even top 30 of CEDH. But I do think someone could build around this. I mean, shoot, while we were at the SCG 5K, I played against the mono green flash deck.
Yeah.
And this automatically goes in that deck, I think.
Yeah. I mean, this what's the green elf that as you put 1/1 counters on it, it taps for more?
Uh,
Mirren or something? Not Mirren.
yeah, Mirren.
Is it
Yeah,
Mirren?
so it definitely goes in. It definitely goes in Mirren.
Okay.
This honestly will probably just be better than the 99 of those elf ball style decks, but I could see someone trying it as just like kind of swapping it out at the helm of like a Mirren deck.
I mean that I could see it seeing play. I could see it at least being tried in something. If someone really wants to push elf stacks in CEDH, then I've seen it done before.
I don't know if you really want to count Yisan as. Never mind. We have a local that plays Yisan elf stacks, so I'll stop that right there.
All right, where are we putting this guy?
I think throw him in the honorable mention.
You're gonna put him in the honorable mention. All right, we're going.
Yeah, I'd say honorable mention. I don't think he's gonna see a lot of play past like maybe the first 2 months of play testing.
Got it. All right, next up we have
Arguably the best commander legendary creature out of this set. We got everyone's second favorite big flappy bird, Nadu Winged Wisdom. For those of you who don't know, everyone's first favorite is Ishai, or at least me.
How did I know
I'm
you were
posing
going to
down
say
here
that?
now. What did you say?
I said, how did I know you were going to say that?
Oh, I had to. Big old murder bird. So Nadu Winged Wisdom. It is a blue and a green. You got a Simic legendary bird wizard. Very relevant creature types for record. It is a flying 3/4. So at bare minimum, it passes the vanilla test of just being a 3-mana 3/4 with flying. Creatures you control have whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land card, put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, put it in your hand. This ability triggers only twice each turn. Now, for clarification, he doesn't say your creatures only trigger twice each turn. He gives each creature that ability.
Twice a turn.
So each time a new creature enters, each time it's a new game object or you make a new token or whatever, it regains that ability. You can just do it again. So this card is arguably the best legendary creature slash commander that is coming out of this set for the sheer fact that its target ability isn't only on it or only twice per turn. Each creature has that ability. So you play cards like Sea King's Blessing and Sylvan Paradise or Lightning Greaves to target things because equipping is a target. And each time you do that, you draw a card. So cards like Sea King's Blessing, which is choose a creature, choose any number of creatures for 1 blue mana at an instant speed, and they become blue. It's better than Ancestral Recall at that point because if you got like 4 creatures out.
Yeah, and one correction I do want to make: if it's a land, you're not drawing that card. So a Bowmaster would not trigger if you're drawing if you hit a land.
Oh, right. So it's like the Thrasios ability.
Yes, it is.
Better than Thrasios, that land comes in untapped, correct?
Yes, it does come in untapped.
Yeah, so it's kind of worded like Thrasios, but the land comes in untapped, which is even better.
And
so these cards you're drawing, you can use the lands to cast them, essentially.
Now, so it's the same thing. You do have to reveal the top card just like Thrasios, but you don't get to scry it away if you don't like it. So, I mean...
So there's the caveat there. You don't get the scry, but your land comes in untapped.
So let's, I think I know what you're going to say, where we're going to put it. Where are we putting this on the list?
Busted.
We're going to put it on busted. Okay. So we're going to put the big crane man on busted. Let's go.
People are comparing this card to Kinnan. So it's got to go up there.
All right. So let's go. I believe we have one more legendary on the list.
One more legendary creature,
Yeah, I think we have one more legendary creature, so let's go ahead and get him out of the way.
Those are just the only 3 that I think could possibly be commanders.
Yep. The next one up, we have 6. He is 2 and a green, legendary creature Treefolk. He's got reach. Whenever 6 attacks mill 3, you may put a land card from among them into your hand. As long as it's your turn, non-land permanents in your graveyard have retrace. Now, a reminder for what retrace is: you may cast permanents from your graveyard by discarding a land in addition to paying their other costs. I don't see this as a commander, but I definitely can see this in the 99 of decks like Kenrith. I can see this in several decks that want that recursion. And all you have to do is pay a land, i.e. maybe go back to Witherbloom. You had the dredge. You can retrace using the lands you got back from your graveyard. You got any comment, guy?
So in your, as you said in Witherbloom, this deck absolutely gets slotted into Witherbloom. It doesn't go into Kenrith, I don't think, but it absolutely gets slotted into Witherbloom because let's say you want to cast this Esper Sentinel from your graveyard, just to be basic real quick. So, pay your mana for Esper Sentinel and discard a fetch land because you don't need that anymore. And then you just dredge it back the next turn in case you do. As far as other decks that this would probably go in, maybe Corval just because it is a graveyard deck, but I think anything
that is a good point.
Jund, Sultai, Abzan, Recursion style would want this.
Fair enough. All right. Now, where are we putting old 6?
I don't think he's as good as Nadu, but I'd definitely put him up in the busted ability just because for things of that nature. So, let's say your Jund decks, you're in Corval going for a breach win, and someone blows up your breach. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. I'm gonna play this 6, discard this land, and can do it again.
Sounds good. All right, we got 6 in busted. Next up, Let's start getting to more of the role player cards. I think you alluded to this card previously. The Spring Heart Nantuko is 1 and a green. Enchantment creature, insect monk. It has bestow. Bestow is 1 and a green. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1. And you have landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 1 and a green. If Spring Heart Nantuko is attached to a creature you control, if you do, create a token that is a copy of that creature. If you didn't create a token this way, create a 1/1 green insect creature. So if I put this on not Neza Hall, that's a legendary. If I have it on a dockside, I pay 2.
So you were on the right track with Nezahal, but Dockside is another good one.
I mean,
yeah. So if you bestow it onto a dockside, and then let's say your dockside count is 4 or 5, which is pretty easy to hit in CEDH, right?
Yep.
So you play it onto a dockside, play a fetch land, pay 2, make a copy of dockside, crack your fetch land, pay 2, make a copy of dockside.
Oh God.
Right. I didn't think about that at first either until I had some more people explain it to me. Now, that is very good getting, 3 docksides for 1 fetch land, right? This card immediately goes into Itali.
Yeah, I could see that. This could be a definite upgrade for Itali. But the only thing, to create a copy of the creature, it does have to be attached to a creature to make the copy of a creature.
Yeah, so you cast your Itali, and then you're not trying to hit this off of Itali. You want to bestow it onto Itali.
Got you. Okay.
So if you bestow it onto Itali, and we do the same dockside thing, or whatever, you just play your fetch land, pay 2 mana, get another Itali.
I got you. Okay. Well, that seems like a very powerful ability.
Immediately goes into Itali.
Woof. Okay. So where do we put this? The Spring Heart. Where do we put it?
So I think this will go into Will See play. I think the best place this card goes is into Itali. I don't know of any other decks that will abuse it as much as Itali will. Some decks can get some value out of it, certainly, like Sithis, sure, for those 5 players that still play Sithis.
All right, now we're moving on to the next card. You want to get this one?
So Eldrazi Confluence, it is 2 generic and waste specifically. You can only cast it off like your Mana Ball or Soul Ring, unless you're running waste for some reason. But it is 4 mana for an instant. Choose 3. You may choose the same mode more than once. First ability is target creature gets +3/-3 until end of turn. Or you can exile target non-land permanent, then return to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. And the third ability is create a 1/1 colorless Eldrazi Eldrazi Scion creature token with sacrifice this creature, add colorless. So this card, you're the one who pointed it out to me. I definitely think it goes into Itali because it does run a lot of artifacts that produce specifically colorless mana. But it's mainly for the flicker effect because Itali needs more of those. Or maybe my Itali just needs more because I have terrible luck with it.
You have terrible luck, yeah.
As people will see if they go through any of our playlists. But so the second ability is definitely the most powerful one for it in Itali. Just getting a Itali flicker. However, do keep in mind that you can't target Itali with all 3 flickers because once one of them resolves, Itali is a new game object and the other 2 will fizzle.
Yes, it kills a Temna, it kills Dranith, it kills several creatures that can be either help outpace
You're thinking too small. This kills a Consecrated Sphinx.
How does it? Wait a minute.
You can give it +6, -6.
Oh! Okay.
You're thinking too small, Seth.
Oh, God. Never mind. Oh, no.
You're not wrong. It does kill a lot of those small creatures. But there aren't many things in CEDH that can kill something the size of a Consecrated Sphinx.
Oh, so it +9, -9
I
something
do
if
that
you
as
really
well.
have to. All right, where are we putting this thing? I think I'm saying it's in playable. I don't think it'll see play in anything else, but
I
I
don't think it's
think
going to be a staple in Italy, but I think people are going to try. And I agree with you. It's going to go in the playable.
I see playable. Okay, the next card we have is Horizon of Progress. This multicolored land has tap, pay 1 life, add 1 mana of any type to your any type that a land you control could produce. It also has 2 other abilities. Pay 3, tap. You may put a land from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. And then it has pay 1, tap, sacrifice Horizon of Progress, and draw a card. Um, this is essentially another reflecting pool with a mana confluence kind of payment on it. But the other 2 abilities, the second ability is, hey, I can put a land if I have nothing else to do. I can put a land into the battlefield at instant speed on someone else's turn to help me on my actual turn. And then if I just need a card draw to maybe get out of get the card I tutored for with a vampiric tutor or something like that, it lets me draw the card at instant speed. I think this is a really good land. This could definitely see play in several decks. What do you think?
It's so I won't say definitely going in the 4 colors, but I will certainly be putting it in my Sisei list because we're such a pip hungry deck. I need as many colors as possible, and I've already been looking to replace Badlands. So this is gonna go straight into there. The pay 1 life ability kind of sucks, but for the decks that don't use their life total, so the non-Adnaz decks, we don't care. I mean, I'm running Tarnished Citadel.
Now, now you said
That and it can also draw you a card in a pinch. The Horizon Land ability on there is absolutely clutch because you and I came from Modern, and there have been so many games where just that ability has gotten us out of a pinch.
absolutely.
The pay 3 tap put a land on the battlefield. It's just there. It's nice. I don't think it'll get used much, but it's nice to have.
Now you said you were gonna get rid of Badlands. That's the black red dual land. Why would
Right.
you cut Badlands for this?
So specifically in Sisay, and a lot of lists already don't run Badlands, but red and black, depending on your build, I'd say probably about 70 to 80% of the Sisay builds, red and black are the least used colors in the deck, and you hardly ever want to fetch for Badlands as it is. Yes,
Okay.
this card isn't fetchable, but it produces your other 4 colors.
Okay. I mean, if it makes the deck run better, I can see an argument for it. All right, now
No,
where
and
are we?
that's why I'm on Tarnished Citadel. I think I'm only on 6 fetch lands, but I added stuff like Tarnished Citadel in there because I want as many colored pips as possible.
Gotcha. All right, now where are we putting Horizon of Progress? Uh,
I'll put it in playable.
I think playable. Do we want to say it's better than or worse than Eldrazi Conscription or Confluence? Damn, now you got me saying it.
Put it over Eldrazi Confluence just because it's more versatile. I think
I
Eldrazi
can,
Confluence will only see play in Italy, but I think this could go in more decks.
I agree with that. All right. Do you want to take our next card? What do we got?
I believe it's Necro Dominance down there.
All right. Get on Necro Dominance. Do you want to read the card for us?
Yeah, so Necro Dominance, it is black, black, black for a legendary enchantment. So Sisay players rejoice. Not really. For some reason, this card is currently going at $37 according to Scryfall, but that's beside the point. Its ability says, skip your draw step. At the beginning of your end step, you may pay any amount of life. If you do, draw that many cards. Your maximum hand size is 5. If a card or token would be put into your graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. So people are comparing this to Necropotence,
I'm
obviously because it's similar name and similar effect, but
yeah.
I don't think it's anywhere near that powerful.
Necro Dominance is not Necropotence. Yeah, I mean,
No, not at all. So you can't Born Upon win with it. Really,
You
and you
can
just pay. Let's say you pay 10 life into this, and someone flashes in a bowmaster. You just took 20 life.
you can no, you can do Born Upon a Wind, but the problem is that exile instead. So the rest in peace ability at the bottom for your graveyard, uh, it's not like Necropotence, which says if you would discard a card, exile it instead. Cards can still go into your graveyard naturally of either being removed from the battlefield. They can
Oh,
go into
right.
graveyard.
That's what it is. That's where I was getting it mixed up with the whole Born Necropotence line where you can win on instep.
Yes. See, but the thing is also, if you're discarding a card, there's a triggered ability that's on the stack that you can respond to. If you have Born Upon a Wind on, or if you've played Born Upon a Wind, your stuff has flash. You can crack your LAD, put your stuff into the graveyard while the Necropotence ability is on the stack. So the triggered ability making your stuff that would be exiled. You can start playing those cards with your uh, Underworld Breach and still use those cards before they are hit with the Necropotence ability. This card, however, does not give you that luxury. You can't really
Okay, so that
do a
was where I
breach.
was misunderstanding the interaction.
Yeah, you can't do a breach line. It's very difficult to do a breach line with this ability. So, I'm leaning towards this, and maybe I'm wrong about it, but I'm to honorable mention on the Necro dominant.
I'm with you on that. I would be reluctant to put it in worth a try, but I know people are going to try it.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe we're gonna just get skewered in the comment because there's some
Oh,
combo with it that makes it amazing, but I don't see it.
I am a-okay with being proven wrong about these cards. I by no means pretend to be a Magic the Gathering expert,
I just
but
play the cards.
I don't see this card seeing much play in the future.
All right,
But if I am proven wrong, I welcome it.
let's go off of the another black card we have here, Warren Soul Trader. Warren Soul Trader is a 2 and a black creature, zombie, goblin, wizard. Woo! The creature types on that one. And then it's got an ability. It's pay 1 life, sacrifice another creature, and create a treasure token. And it's also a 3/3. This just seems like a combo engine to me. I mean, in the right deck, so your Marnius Calgars that make a lot of dudes. Those type of decks that make a lot of creatures, or doesn't care if their creatures die. This could see some play, maybe in Corvold.
You know where this goes? Witherbloom.
Yeah, of course it does. Witherbloom becomes the best deck in the format just off of cards out of the set. Absolutely.
Yo, whoever drafts Witherbloom and Warren Soul Trader together is gonna have a great night.
All right. Yeah, I know there's some. There was one of the Wilmington guys was actually Boomer was pretty high on this card. He thought this was going to be just absolutely bonkers broken. And I can see it.
Broken because you can only activate this 40 times, well, 39 times.
It's just a number.
Only 39 treasures.
Where are we putting Warren Soul Trader?
I definitely think it's in. Oh, I'm between playable or high worth a try. I think worth a try because it's going to be in less decks than the land. But by that logic, it would go right behind or right beside the Tali card, the Eldrazi card.
Yeah, I would agree. I think we put it right between. I think we put it right between Horizon and the Eldrazi Confluence.
Right, because it could go in things like I think Rakdos the Muscle. It could go in. You got for casual players, you got your Edgar decks. But then you have, as you said, your Corvold. Now, I'm not certain if Corvold wants this because it already runs very few things to sacrifice. But
it runs very few creatures to sacrifice.
Right.
There's
But
plenty of other
back on the
things.
whole boomer CEDH stuff where we were talking about the Gitrog monster, Rosh loves this card.
This is true. It would be very entertaining to see Prosh win a CEDH tournament with this card. That would be very interesting. I've seen Dragon win a damn tournament before, so anything's possible.
Dragon's just color good stuff.
God. Okay, moving on. We have another card here. I think we have the first Flare on our list. Do you want to read it for us, guy?
Duplication?
Yeah, we have Flare of Duplication. All right. Do you want to start us off?
Flare of Duplication is the first of our flares in the flare cycle of this set. Wizards decided to attempt to fix the free spells coming out of the Modern Horizon sets because we all saw how great they did with the elementals. I, for one, loved them because I played that in Modern, but that's beside the point.
And scam here.
So Flare of Duplication. It's a red instant for 1 red. You may sacrifice, and all the flares have this specific line of text pertaining to their color. You may sacrifice a non-token red creature rather than pay the spell's mana cost. Copy target instant or sorcery spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. I think this card automatically goes in Quark and Sakashima, and a lot of people are going to be playing it in Itali.
I think it's fantastic for Itali because you go to do your Molten Duplication, make 2 Italis.
Shoot, not even that. Use it as a counter spell.
Yeah, the counterspell does wonders too.
You're at 10 life. You can't use your Treasonous Ogre anymore. Sack it to go copy something. Copy someone's counter spell. Copy someone's Mindbreak Trap.
Oh, that's spicy.
Like you use Treasonous Ogre, cast Itali, and you have Flare Duplication in your hand. Someone attempts to Mindbreak Trap a stack. You're like, all right, cool. Cast Flare for free, sacrificing Treasonous Ogre.
Oh, okay. I think this card sees more, as far as the Flare's concerned, I think this sees more play in CEDH than any of the other Flares. As far as just per deck, I think this sees the most play in the multiple decks.
Yes, I could see putting it in the we'll see play category.
Oh, it is definitely going to see play. All right. Now we have
my cards up next.
We have another iteration of a lightning bolt here. We have Galvanic Discharge. This instant
energy, because now you're starting to laugh and liven up. You're getting more comfortable.
God damn it. Instant. Choose target creature or planeswalker. You get 3 damn energies. And then you may pay any amount of those energies. Galvanic deals that much damage to that permanent. Maybe it could combo well with one of the other cards that we're seeing that's coming up, but where do you see this in CEDH?
The fact that it is an adjustable lightning bolt, if you have some other cards in your deck that will generate energy, and we're going to talk about 2 of them later that are just generically good energy producers, you can cast this for 1, 2, or 3. If you want to lightning bolt a Bowmaster, you got to spend the whole 3 damage. But with this, you only have to spend 1 energy. Yes, they both do the same 3 as their top end, but that's just alone. I think this is a strict upgrade to Lightning Bolt and CEDH, or you can play it alongside with it in decks that can't run, the white removal like Swords of Path.
That's not bad.
Let's say it gets endurance for some way, but you can just. What I'm trying to get at is you can still use it later.
Yeah.
For if you only use 1 or 2, and then you cast it again, you go up to 3. Now you got 5 energy counter, and now you're shooting a Kenrith or shooting a Prom.
I mean, I think it's a good card. Where do we want to place this?
I'm not even. What was that?
I was gonna say, where do we want to place this? I'm thinking worth a try.
Yes, I agree with you in the worth a try.
Next up, we have another removal spell here.
All right, so Ghostfire Slice. It's 2 in a red for an instant with Devoid. For those of you that don't know, Devoid means this card has no color, and that only applies to while this card is being targeted on the stack or anything regarding that matter. As far as color identity, this card is red when it's not in being used. And that's probably a bad explanation of Devoid, but that's what I got. So what this card actually does, it's an instant. It says this spell costs 2 generic less to cast if an opponent controls a multicolored permanent. You want to know what the most popular deck in our format is with 2 multicolored permanents in the command zone?
Blue Farm.
Right. Ghostfire Slice deals 4 damage to any target.
I think that.
Go ahead and add Nas, Blue Farm. I will deal 4 damage to you if you get too greedy. I can shoot your Crom for 1 red mana.
Yeah, this is a good card for.
It kills Crom, Winota, Timna. No, Corvol's a 5/5, but like you get where I'm going with that. There are so many like Kennen. It just absolutely like craps on Kennen. There are all of these 2-color or multicolor commanders in the command zone, and this just doesn't care. It just deals 4. It's an upgraded lightning bolt.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely during the spoiler season, I definitely picked up 4 of these. Yeah, this is a pretty good card for just getting that spot removal. If you don't have access to stuff like Swords to Plowshare, stuff like that, great. In red, absolutely, we're gonna run this.
Once again, another Italic. It goes into Omnix, it goes into Rakdos, all that good stuff. And it of note, it's kind of got the mind break trap wording where it just says if an opponent controls. It doesn't have to be the opponent that controls the thing you're targeting or them. Like all these lovely Sisay decks and all their multicolored legends and planeswalkers.
Absolutely.
It was 4.
All right, where are we putting Ghostfire Slice?
I want to put it in Will See Play, but maybe that's just my copium.
I'm saying it's play. I'm gonna put it in playable. We'll put it. I'm thinking it's not. I think the Warren Soul Trader may see more play, but I think it's still better than the Confluence because the Confluence is just that one deck that's really.
I would want to put it above the Soldier. It's not going to see more play than the land, possibly, but it is more versatile than the Soldier.
All right. Well, I can agree with that.
But we can come to a compromise on that one.
All right.
I agree that it's not more powerful than that land.
All right. We got Party Thrasher. 1 in a red. Creature, Lizard, Wizard.
That's the best part of this card.
That is the best card of this. I agree. That should be. It's busted just because it says Wizard, Lizard.
Wait, no. If we're going off of that, what was that other creature I called out? Was it the was it the Badger or something?
The Badger.
Continue reading the card. I'm going Scryfall.
Oh God. Okay. Now this Wizard Lizard, non-creature spells you cast from exile have Convoke. Okay. For all the people that don't know what Convoke means, each creature you tap while casting a non-creature spell from exile pays for 1 colorless or 1 mana of that creature's color. That is already a great ability just there. Now we have a little bit more on this card. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, you may discard a card. If you do, exile the top 2 cards of your library, then choose one of them. You may play that card this turn. This is a great card.
No, it's not. Card's bad. It's only because of the creature type, because I found the better one. Nightmare Wombat.
Nightmare Wombat. Okay. All right.
Anyway, real talk on it.
All right, holy cow.
The Lizard Wizard, right? Wizard being a very relevant creature type for you people who don't realize that Thassa's Oracle is a wizard. So this card will, in my opinion, only see play in Obnixilis and Prosper. Those are the 2 decks that can take advantage of this card without solely relying on its second triggered ability, which only gets you 2 cards per turn. Granted, that is a lot. It's a very good card selection. But in decks like Ob that's already wanting to cast things from exile, it's going to be great.
Yep. Now, I will say that decks that maybe not blue farm per se, but I think decks that run Mean Bet or Mnemonic Betrayal, this could see
Yeah,
play.
that's another good one too. I don't know if it's good enough to throw in, like, say, a Blue Farmer Rocks I list solely for meme bet though.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about more of your decks that are a little bit smaller that can run Mean Bet. Maybe
Yeah, like Rograk and Francisco. Never mind, I can't remember.
no. No, I was thinking about more of like Tevish Crom.
Yeah,
It's a little bit
but
slower
you get
list.
one thing in that deck that'll be causing stuff to be cast from exile though.
I mean, it runs Mean Bet, and the Thralls are there. What are you going to do with the Thralls?
Well, the thralls are draw engines.
Yeah, but you can still sack them after you tap them.
Right. I'm sure someone's gonna try it out in Tevish Crom, but I don't know if it'll stay.
I think it's definitely worth a try. I think it's playable, uh, just for the sheer fact that it is a card engine and it can help you pay for those more expensive spells using your creatures.
I do want
When
to point out a very relevant part of text on there. That's the reason Dauntless Dismantler is as powerful as it is. This is a 2-mana 1/4.
yes,
That is very relevant on a body like this, especially on as useful of a creature as this. But being as how we kind of judge the Eldrazi card and the other sack outlet, I think we could throw it in the playable tier right between those two.
yeah, I think that's good.
Just because that's how we judge those two cards, and I don't want to be more biased just because one's an Itali card. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll put it right there. All right, next up, your turn. You want to
We
tell us
got the
about?
most powerful card in the set that people are thinking it is. We got Power Balance.
Oh boy.
This is an enchantment for red and red. So we got the alternate to counterbalance. Those darn blue players, self included. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may reveal the top card of your library. If you do, if you do, you may cast that card without paying its mana cost. If the two spells have the same mana value, so it's got the same wording as counterbalance, except you get to cast the spell. So this I automatically goes into El Shatop. That is one of the decks that got me into CEDH, but that deck manipulates the top of its deck so well, and you can get so much value off of Power Balance.
Okay.
It's free real estate. Stomps are going up with this one.
I don't really have much to say about this card. I don't. I see the potential there, but I guess I'd have to. It's more of something for me that I'm gonna have to see this in action. I would say we put this in worth a try.
I was just about to say that as well.
All right, so it will go in worth a try. All right, next, another Atali card.
And I do want to throw a caveat in there. I know we put 3 cards in the playable section because they're playable with specific decks, and I just said that Power Balance is absolutely a staple in Elsha, but Elsha isn't the top deck or isn't performing consistently is the only reason I would agree to put it in worth a try.
Yeah.
However, I would want to put it higher in the worth a try tier because it's obviously going to go in more decks than Witherbloom.
Okay. I think that's a justified defense. All right, next up we have Unstable Amulet. This is one in a red artifact. When Unstable Amulet enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy cards. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, Unstable Amulet deals 1 damage to each opponent. You can tap it, pay 2 energy counters, exile the top card of your library. You may play it until you exile another card with Unstable Amulet. Doesn't Itali exile the cards off the top of your deck? Everybody?
That is exactly where this card is going.
Um,
Itali and Ob Nixilis. You want to know what's going in Ob Nixilis? Do you know how Ob Nixilis triggers?
yeah.
So you have this on the battlefield. You have Ob Nixilis. You cast the thing off of Ob Nixilis. You get 4 more Ob Nixilis triggers.
No, you only
Every
get one.
card
You only
you
get.
cast draws you 4 cards.
I believe you only get one per. If you deal 1 damage to each person, I
No,
think you.
it's yeah. So it's 1 damage to each person. So if like you deal 2 damage to one person, odd one trigger. But each time an opponent takes 1 damage.
Um, I
Oh,
have to read. I have to think that. I'm not
I'm
sure
pulling
that's
out of it
correct.
right
I
now.
think it's if it only triggers that one instant. Um, it doesn't do 4
Well, that
separate
was
triggers.
fixing things like the parasite wouldn't work. Whenever one or more, oh, I was wrong. I thought it was
Yeah,
each opponent. I was wrong. Whenever one or more opponents each lose exactly 1 life, put a +1/+1 counter on an ob and exile the top card of your library until your next turn.
yeah. It doesn't
Well,
trigger.
anyways, yes, it doesn't trigger for the 4 times. However, every card you cast replaces itself.
Yes.
That's still great.
Oh, this is probably I'm gonna say one of the best uncommon in the set for me.
Oh, absolutely. Apart from like the two that are combos and popper, and then this one absolutely busted common we got coming up.
I mean, for
Um,
CEDH, I think this is one of the best. This is the best uncommon that we have for
oh,
CEDH.
right, absolutely. So this will certainly go into the we'll see play section.
Yes.
Because it will go into Itali, and Itali just gets generic value from it.
God, I think we
Or
just love
okay,
Atali.
let me retract that. I don't think it automatically goes into Itali, but Itali does get value from it, especially if you're running things like
Prop.
the lightning bolt. It also goes with breach because it's not only exile; it's not from hand.
Oh, so it might in a breach style list, maybe Mad Farm or
Or like this, All plays breach, Itali plays breach, Prosper plays breach.
yeah, any breach list might want to try this out. So yeah,
I don't know about any. I would say any low color breach list.
I mean it's the
But you're not putting this in blue farm.
oh no, um yeah, I think this could be a good card. I definitely think it. Next up we have a card that you're just so excited for. I know it.
That,
Um,
that evil me, Ricky Bobby. Next up, we have the absolute copium of cope from the set that people keep smoking something to think that this card is good. We have Wheel of Potential. If you thought that Wheel of Misfortune was convoluted, this card is honestly just a worse Wheel of Misfortune. It's 2 in a red for a sorcery. You get 3 energy counters. There are a lot of energy stuff that could certainly see play in CEDH, so it could be for more. Then you may pay X energy. Each player may exile their hand and draw X cards. If X is 7 or more, you may play those cards you own exile this way until the end of your next turn. I am not a fan of non-consensual wheels.
God, said
Wheel of
it.
Fortune and Windfall and Time Twister are already on the downswing because they refill your opponent's hand. I understand for the turbo decks like Rogsai, Itali, all that good stuff, you need more gas, you need to refill your hands, and you kind of need to play cards like this. But for the fact that your opponents choose if they want to wheel, that's why I don't like this.
Yeah, I agree. If they got rid of the May ability, I
Then yeah,
think
it'd definitely be playable.
I think this would be worth a try. But the May exile, um, I'm not keen on the May part. I think this is in an honorable mention. If there was a lower, I'd play Necro Dominance over this if I
Oh,
really just had to
absolutely.
choose
And
which
to
card to
get the
play.
to get the good part about it, you have to fill your deck with other energy cards. Yeah, there are some good ones like we're going to talk about coming
But
up,
I'm not gonna.
but at this card's floor, it's going to be 3 mana. You discard your hand and draw 3 cards.
No. It's
It's,
not discard. It is
oh,
exile
sorry.
your hand.
It's going to be 3 mana. You exile your hand and draw 3 cards. So it doesn't even fill your breach.
No, no, it does not.
This card is terrible.
So we are going to put this behind Necrodominance, where it belongs. And the next
If
card,
we're on a lower tier, it'd be there,
I'm
as you
just going to
said.
let you go with the next card. This is your choice. I don't know why this is on the list. I think this is for the memes. But go ahead and tell us about Colossal Dread Mask.
So we've already talked about so many great cards for Italy, and this isn't one of them. This card isn't going to see the light of day in any CEDH deck. I just love Colossal Dreadmaw, as most Magic players do, and this is that on an equipment.
Yeah, we just need to try to power creep Colossal Dreadmaw.
That's exactly what it is. They power crept Colossal Dreadmaw. It is exactly the same mana cost, I believe. It's 4 and green for an artifact equipment with living weapon. It makes the body when it comes in. Equipped creature gets +6/+6 and has trample. That's all it does. It is a common. It is going to wreck Popper, but that's not what we're here to talk about. But this card is solely put on this list for the memes.
Yeah, you can just go ahead and say it. You put it on. You just love this card because it'll be in Popper, and you're the only one here that plays Popper.
Sadly, Popper's a great format, but I digress.
Oh boy. Okay, we're gonna put this in honorable mentions, and
would play that. I would play Colossal Dreadmask.
We're gonna put it over top of the
wheel. Either Necro Dominance or Wheel of Potential.
Oh God. Okay. Next card.
I will have that on record.
Next card is a card that you've turned me on to with since I guess I'm gonna start maybe trying out Kenrith in future videos. This common is insane with Kenrith. This is Evolution Witness. It is 2 and a green, creature, elf, shaman, mutant, with pay 1 green, adapt 2. Now, to remind everybody what adapt is, if the creature has no 1/1 counters on it, if the creature has no +1/1 counters on it, put 2 +1/1 counters on it. And then it has an ability if that happens. Whenever 1 or more 1/1 counters are put onto Evolution Witness, return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, Guy, do you want to tell me what you told me about this card? Because it is insane.
So I generically thought this was good in Kenrith, replacing your Eternal Witness because it's a reusable thing with Kenrith's green ability to put a +1/+1 counter on a creature. I was going to replace Eternal Witness. Yes, that is a combo piece with Displacer Kitten, but it's a 4-card combo piece. This is an Auriok Salvagers in specifically Kenrith.
Oh.
For those of you that don't know what Auriok Salvagers is, it is part of the old Bomberman combo with Lion's Eye Diamond. It is a 1/4 creature that says you may pay, I believe, 2 or 1 and a white to return target artifact card with CMC 1 or less from your graveyard to your hand. So how that works with Lion's Eye Diamond, you cast it, you sack it for 3 white, activate Auriok Salvager's ability, return LED to your hand, and generate infinite mana that way. So eventually start filtering it into other colors. You can do that same thing with Evolution Witness and Kenrith. Yes, you have to have Kenrith out for this, but it's a Kenrith deck. You're going to try to have them out. That's how you win. So you have Evolution Witness out, play Lion's Eye Diamond, crack it for 3 green, activate Kenrith to put a +1/+1 counter on Evolution Witness, and return LED to your hand. Rinse and repeat until you get infinite green mana and filter it into the other colors. The only downside to this card, it is a 2/1, and Bowmaster is still legal.
Yeah. The 2/1 thing is a little annoying, but you can also do Kenrith at instant speed.
You can. Also, it's not a downside from. I would say the only downside is it's not an ATB effect. The downside is that it's a 2/1, but that's quickly changed with just 1 Kenrith activation. And if you have Agatha Soul Cauldron out, which is arguably the best card in that deck, it's going to cost 1 green mana.
No, you mean Agatha herself.
Oh yes, Agatha the Vile Cauldron. Sorry.
Yeah.
To say brain.
Just not a confusing at all. We'll just name the 2 cards the same damn thing almost.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Evolution Witness is an Auriok Salvagers that's actually useful in Kenrith because I did try Auriok Salvagers out in Kenrith before, but it's a dead card.
Okay. Well, I'm thinking we put this up here in the playable.
And I want to see it in Will See play because it is a staple in Kenrith, in my opinion.
Okay, I can.
Just as the flare will be a staple in some other sets, as well as what was that? Bestow creature is a staple in Italy.
Oh yeah,
Evolution Witness is a staple in Kenrith.
I can get on board with that. All right, next. I know how much you love mana dorks. We got another one
I'm
here.
honestly higher on this card than I initially was, which is why I added it to the list.
Okay, this is Fanatic of Ronus. We haven't talked about Ronus in a while. That's pretty cool. This card is a 1 and a green. It is a creature snake druid.
Why
It
did
is.
they get rid of the Noggins?
Excuse me?
Because this used to be a Naga.
Oh yeah, it is not a Naga. That is interesting. Anyway,
The Noggins getting rotted?
maybe I guess they just didn't want to do that anymore. Changed their idea because Nagas was a big thing in Amonkhet. If anybody remembers.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Anyway, that's irrelevant. Continue.
Anyway, this mana dork does what mana dorks do. It taps and adds 1 green to the mana pool. If you have Ferocious, which is tap, add 4 green mana, activate only if you control a creature with power 4 or greater. And then it has Eternalize, which is 2 and 2 green. You exile this card from your graveyard, create a token of it that is a copy of it, except it is a 4/4 zombie snake druid with no mana cost, and Eternalize only as a sorcery. And it starts out as a 1/4. This thing, where do you see this seeing play?
Are you asking that because you're not high on it? It's not going to be like a perma staple like the Druids or the Bobs. But are you asking because you're not high on it because it's a 2-mana dork?
Yeah, the 2-mana dork with no kind of like if we were talking about a 2-mana dork, I'd probably do Sylvan Caryatid, which has hexproof.
But is Sylvan Caryatid a 1/4?
It's a 0/3 that blocks Ragavan.
This kills and blocks Ragavan.
I got that part, but this also can die to removal.
Who's gonna? Okay, if you use your Swords of Plowshares on my Fanatic Aronas, by all means, go right ahead.
I
You're
mean,
not about to lightning bolt this. You can ghost fire it, but go right ahead.
if it's the only thing on the board, you can't ghost fire shit.
Exactly.
But anyway,
no, so no, where this card goes is I would like for you to take a moment to think about very popular green commanders that are seeing a lot of play right now that have greater than 4 power.
I mean, there's a Tali, but at this point, you're doing
Exactly.
God damn it.
It's Etali. It's a 2-mana
Tali.
1/4 blocker. Yes, it only produces a green to start with, but you know how much mana that deck produces? As soon as you get Etali out, it produces 4 mana. Even if you can't get Etali out and you're a little later in the game, like let's say you got My Luck and you fizzle, you just eternalize it, and then you get a 4/4 that does the same thing, and now you don't need another creature.
Well,
Because it
Eternalize,
triggers
you
itself.
do have to have it dead. It has to be dead in the graveyard to Eternalize.
Well, yeah, I mean, it'll die eventually. Everything dies eventually. Like, you know how often board wipes happen?
I think I'm leaning towards honorable mention on this guy. I don't see it. It's a little bit of a stretch for me.
I'll meet you in the middle and put it at the bottom of worth a try because I only see it going in Italy.
Okay, we're gonna put the not Naga Snake Druid into worth a try.
But you know, I don't know of other decks like maybe a Shia wants it, but for the fact that it can produce so much mana, which Italy is always looking for,
Yep.
that's what it's looking for. It's looking for clones, mana, and removal.
And I agree with that. All right, next up we have another Sorcerer Spyglass type ability. We have Disruptor Flute. Pay 2 for an artifact, flash. As Disruptor Flute enters the battlefield, choose a card name. Spells with chosen name cost 3 or more. Spells with chosen name cost 3 more to cast. Activate this activated abilities of source with the chosen name can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. So just say, okay, Kenrith.
Yep.
Here you go.
In a meta dominated by commanders, sorry, not dominated, a meta filled with by commanders with activated abilities.
This a Kennen,
To say
Kenrith,
Kenrith, like all of those are great. Even some of the more
Thrasios.
expensive ones, just naming them and making them more expensive. Name Atraxa with this, and she costs 10 mana.
Yeah.
But that's on the higher end. Let's look at the lower end. Name Lion's Eye Diamond with this in response to an Underworld Breach being cast, and now they're just screwed.
I think if it didn't have Flash, I don't think this would even have made the list. But since it has Flash,
Oh, no,
that is.
If this didn't have Flash, it would only be played in Oswald.
I think since it has Flash, makes it, and also it gets back to another card we're probably talking about here in a minute. But it gets into stacks pieces that don't completely lock out the entire board.
Right.
Which can be a detriment.
We have problems with things like that, like Lavinia.
Yeah. So I'm gonna put Disruptor Flute in. Let's put it in playable, and I'm gonna put it.
About that. I would absolutely put it under Power Balance.
You think Power Balance? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I can agree with that. Yeah.
Because under Power Balance.
Behind it. Okay.
Because Stax is not in a good place in the meta right now. However, there are still some decks trying it, and not a lot of decks are going to run this. Like Niv or Tibbet's probably not going to run this. Niv Mizzet's not going to run this. Oswald will certainly run it because that's Oswald's thing.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I don't see it seeing much other play, but people are going to try it in a few places, which is why I wanted to add it to the list. It is essentially a Flash Sorcerer Spyglass that with an even more upside.
Got it. All right, next up, we have the Vexing Bauble. Do you want to tell us about this card?
Yeah, so Vexing Bauble is a 1 generic mana artifact. Whenever a player casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, counter that spell. You can also pay 1 generic and tap it, and sacrifice it and draw a card. I forget the name of those artifacts that are like in Pauper that you can do that. Anyways, that's the irrelevant effect of the card. For the fact that this card is tutorable off of Urza Saga, that is a Lavinia effect that can be turned off like Boromir.
Boromir, yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and this is what we were talking about earlier. Is stacks pieces. I think that's the biggest flaw with stacks pieces is the fact that there's so many times like, I'm going to slam down a Trinisphere. I'm going to slam down a Lavinia. I'm going to slam down these cards, and then it doesn't quite affect everybody at the table, and then you're like, oh crap, now the guy that I need to have a counter spell, or I need to help get back into the game so I have somebody that can stop the guy that's way ahead, now he can't do that, or he or she can't do that. So I think Vexing Bauble, with the fact that it can turn things off, or turn itself off, and then give you value back for getting rid of it, I think is great.
Yes. So there's a caveat to it. It does say whenever a player. The other effects like that, like Lavinia and Boromir, say whenever an opponent.
Oh yes,
So there's the downside.
I mean,
for the fact that this is tutorable off of Urza Saga, I think it goes into playable.
I mean, yes, I definitely think it goes into playable. This is a let's see, I think it's slightly better than the War and Soul Trader.
Yes.
All right, next.
So I'm convinced you on that Soulfire.
Yeah, the Soulfire, I'm not saying it is bad. It is very good. All right, next card we got here. We have Shifting Woodland. Shifting Woodland enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a forest, which is not a big ask. And then you can tap it to then add 1 green mana. But the real fun starts when you have the Delirium ability on this card. If you have Delirium, which is you have at least 4 different card types in your graveyard, you can pay 2 and 2 green. Shifting Woodland becomes a copy of target permanent in a graveyard until the end of turn. Activate this ability only if there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard. Okay. I think this is where this is really good, is have that instant speed. Say Drannith got killed earlier and somebody's going off, but you have mana to put into this to just instant speed a Drannith to stop a breach line if they don't have a way to stop it. What do you think?
Because it just becomes the permanent, right?
Yeah, it
Like,
becomes a Drannith.
Yeah, it just becomes that permanent.
Yes.
So any of your utility stuff that gets killed as you're going on, like Drannith, absolutely. Your land becomes an underworld breach.
Comes Underworld Breach, becomes a Basalt Monolith.
Like, this card absolutely goes in Kennen. It's what is that amulet card that came out? The land that becomes or can become an artifact or something that Titan plays. It's kind of like that. That's how I'm looking at it. Except it gives you utility in the graveyard for when you're
Mycosynth Garden, I think
pieces
you're
get
saying.
removal. Huh?
Mycosynth Garden is the card you're referring to.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yes.
But that's how I'm kind of looking at it, except it, turns your problematic pieces that have already been removed, it gives you more value off of it. It becomes your breach. Can you activate this in instant speed?
Yes.
Go ahead and cast your Wheel of Fortune. I wouldn't mind a Smothering Tithe.
Oh, God. Okay. That's scary.
Right?
That is horrifying. Yeah. I think this just sticks around. And the thing is, the floor on this card, it's just a forest at the end of the day. So
right. I don't know if it goes into busted, but it will certainly see play.
Oh, absolutely. I think I'm gonna say
it has less utility than the Dryad, but I think it has more than the Flare.
Yeah, I think those two. I would have to say those two cards are tied.
Disciple of Freyles. At first, when you read this, it sounds terrible. It's a 3 generic, green for a 3/3 elf druid. That's beside the point. We're not casting this card. Whenever this card enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, gain X life and draw X cards, where X is that creature's power. And on the backside, it's a bolt land. You can have it come in tap, or you pay 3 life, have it come in untapped. So at its floor, it's a bolt land. And as I said, you're not trying to spend 6 mana to cast this card. What you are trying to do is flip it off of an Etali.
These
Etali is getting so many tools this set. You were trying to flip this off of an Etali, so whenever it enters the battlefield, you sacrifice your Etali, gain 7 life, draw 7 cards, and with that 7 life that you just gained, hopefully you got enough off of your Treasonous Ogre that you already got on the battlefield to cast Etali again.
Jeez. Great. Okay. I think this is in a worth a try. I'm gonna say either bottom of worth a try.
Oh no. Yeah.
Because it's not gonna see.
I think our worth a try tier is a little out of order. We got a little skewed somewhere, but this is certainly an Etali card. Whether or not it's a staple, I don't think so. But it's worth a try.
I'm gonna say it's bottom of worth a try.
All right. But this card is maybe I'm smoking the copium, okay? But whenever you do flip this in Etali, it is going to be great.
And you could say the same thing when you flip a Consecrated Sphinx off of Etali. It's great off of someone's Kennen deck.
Right. Or, hear me out, it can also go in Thrasios and Dargo lists.
Jeez.
Because those lists are already producing an egregious amount of mana, so they can hardcast it.
Fair enough.
And sacrifice Dargo.
All right. Now we have our next flare coming up. We have Flare of Fortitude. This is paying 2 and 2 white, which the mana cost on this is irrelevant, because you may sacrifice a non-token white creature rather than pay the spell's mana cost. Until the end of turn, your life total can't change. Permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible. Now, stop me if I'm wrong, But does that mean you can't like if you're, let's say there's some deck that runs this and ad nauseum. Do you just ad nauseum for free your whole deck and not take a single bit of damage?
I'm not certain because if your life total can't change, how can you pay the life for Adnos?
I think ad nauseum deals damage.
If Adnos deals damage, then yes, you can do that.
Let me read ad nauseum real quick. All right, ad nauseum, reveal the top card of your library. You may put it into your hand. You lose life equal to the converted mana cost of the spell. So
you draw your deck.
I think you just draw your deck at this point, and you do it for free.
I mean, kind of like Angel's Grace.
So sack your Tymna, ad Nas, go off.
Sack your Tymna, sack your Esper Sentinel, ad Nas. You draw your deck.
That is low key pretty good. I don't know if it's great, but it's pretty good. So where do you want to put this one?
I want to put it at the top of worth a try.
Top of worth a try. Okay, I can get on board with top of worth a try.
Orphelion, 1 in a white. This is a legendary creature, dog, for a 2/2 with flash. Whenever this card attacks, exile up to one target non-land permanent. At the beginning of the next end step, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. If it entered under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on this. And why it has flash, I don't know. But
fast
maybe it's just a flavor thing. I don't get it. Like that's my problem. It says it's a shepherd, but it's clearly a corgi in the art.
That's the biggest gripe with the card.
I heard a comedian talking about this card, and some of the Sisei people had thought about trying it out because yes, you can't go infinite with it, but getting an ETB at end step is still good. There have been more times than not where I've like channeled to touch the spirit realm to save one of my things or get a dockside ETB at end step than using it for removal. And this does something of that similar effect. However, it does have to attack. In specifically Sisei, it does give the white pip. It is a 2/2. You do get more ETBs. That's okay. I don't think it'll stay in that deck. But where a lot of people are talking about playing this is in Winota. Sure, you can throw in time for some counters. But Winota would like to use effects like this. So, it can pseudo give vigilance to some things as well as get the ETB effects of some of the creatures in Winota. Its floor, it's a pseudo vigilance thing or gotcha combat trick. Flash it in and untap your big dude.
Does it have?
But now, whenever the Italy player's playing against Winota and they flip this off of it and get another Italy ETB, everything's going to come back to Italy.
Of course, it is. I'm saying this is borderline worth a try, honorable mention. I mean,
I would agree with putting it at the top of honorable mention.
Okay, now we have, what is it, Rapid Hydration on a Storm card coming up? Is that what am I reading that correctly? Let's see here. This is
I actually like this.
This is Rapid Hydration on a Storm effect, or on a card with Storm. But here's something too. Let's go ahead and read the card. This is Amphibian Downpour. Amphibian Downpour. It's 2 and a blue. An enchantment Aurora. Flash. It has Storm, which Storm on a permanent is kind of rare. Enchant Creature. Enchant Creature loses all abilities and is a blue frog with base power of 1.
It is. This card is definitely funny, but I do think it's worth a try and playable. It doesn't even have to be a big one. Like the average spells cast during a turn of CEDH is maybe 2 to 3.
I just
realized at that point you're getting 3 to 4 copies of this card.
I just realized something. If someone
is this a dockside thing?
No, not a dockside thing.
I don't think it works.
If someone doesn't have a Mind Break trap in their hand, this card cannot be countered at all. Not even by Flusterstorm. If I'm not mistaken, Flusterstorm only hits instants and sorceries.
Yeah, it only hits instants and sorceries.
So this is actually a great card for. I mean, it's optimistically a good card.
I can certainly see Kane try and get maybe Urza just because they got free mana. Stuff like that, like big mana decks can try because it is a 3 mana removal.
Yeah, it is a 3 mana, and the enchantment makes it difficult to counter.
So, if I'm not mistaken, do you still control the aura that you put on an opponent's creature?
No, I do not. I don't think you do.
Because if not, and you cast Amphibian Downpour on like someone's instep for like 2, 3, 4, and if you don't control the auras and you cast Dockside, that increases your Dockside count. No, I'm not. I know you own. I think you own the auras. I don't know if you control it.
I think you. I'd have to check that. I mean, and that may be a judge question we need to ask. But if you don't control it, that's pretty good. But
it's fine. The comments will tell us.
Oh, I'm sure they will. If a judge wants to put that in the comment below, then by all means, please do.
Please do, because I'm actually uncertain on it. Because
I'm curious about that. I'm going to be asking about that.
That's cracked.
All right. Well, let's put the amphibian. I'm going to be optimistic. We're going to put it worth a try.
That's where I was going to put it too.
Awesome. Now we have our final flare of our list. We have the most overhyped counterspell I think I've ever seen. That is just not as good as a lot of the other free counterspells we have.
It's not, but how good do you want free counterspells to be? They're already free.
Slightly better. I don't know.
All right,
no.
you're gonna so Flare of Denial.
Okay, Flare of Denial.
It's the Flare cycle. It's 1 blue, I believe.
Yep.
And it has the sacrifice a non-token blue creature, and you may cast a spell without paying its mana. It just says counter target spell.
Yes. It is a cancel. It is a cancel with. It's a free cancel. Cancel if you say sack your Thassa's Oracle in response to the ETB trigger.
Yes, that is where most people are looking at it. However, you're going to feel real dumb when you Amphibian Downpour me and I sacrifice my non-token blue frog to my Flare of Denial and counter your win con.
This is true. This is so true. That is the exact way that's going to happen. No, there's two things here. Flare of Denial, I think, in Crom lists and Thrasios lists, maybe not blue farm per se, but being able to, like, say Crom. The big problem with Crom is if your opponent casts your second spell your turn and you're going for Thoracle combos, getting rid of that Crom off the board somehow is very relevant. So, and maybe countering maybe something of their interaction or something to get rid of the Crom before you go off with Thoracle. I think this could...
I think that if you have Thrasios in the command zone, and maybe even Silas, you could try this out. Because you have free sack fodder in the command zone. In Rogsai, you don't really care about Silas. That's a great blocker.
Yeah, Silas you don't care about.
But it's also a blue thing to sacrifice to this card.
Okay.
But apart from that, I'm not sure if it'll see much play outside of Urza or Thrasios decks. And Urza's a stretch.
I think I'm gonna go on a stretch here since we're going with the theme. I'm gonna put it at the top of playable. Because it is a free counterspell. Let's give it, and it's not just a negate. It is a...
Yeah, so is Foil. Foil's a free counterspell. No one plays that.
But I think this, as far as I think it's in the top of playable. That's where I think I would put it. Where do you think?
I would honestly put it under power balance.
You think under power balance?
Yeah.
I
Just
think it
because there's
sees. I
not a
think
lot
it
of
definitely sees more play than
even the
power
decks that
balance.
run blue, excluding Thrasios, even the decks that run blue don't run very many blue creatures. The most you're going to sacrifice to this is your Thoracle, excuse me, or is your like Spell Seeker. You can't even sacrifice Spellskite to this.
Yeah, I mean,
The reason I'm not high on it is because there's not a lot of blue creatures that are played.
I mean, I definitely can. I can get on board with that. So I think it's.
If you don't agree with putting it under power balance, let's meet somewhere in the middle.
I think it's better than power balance, but I would say it would probably. I still think it's a playable card. I think it will see play. I don't know if it'll be like force of will level of play, but
Oh, absolutely not.
um,
Well, but I agree with putting it in the worth a try because everything in worth a try, people are going to play them.
yeah,
Like the Fnatic Arenas, people are going to try that out. The Witherbloom, someone's going to try it. And if we're right about the white flare, it's certainly worth a try.
yeah.
I think that is a good spot.
All right. Now we have Blue's Magus of the Moon. We have Harbinger of the Seas. This Harbinger is 1 and 2 blue. It's a creature merfolk wizard. We got to have the wizards in there. Non-basic lands are islands, and it is a 2/2. This thing.
Why did they make it more difficult to cast than Magus of the Moon? Magus of the Moon is 2 in a red.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, merfolk lists will jump all over this for merfolk and modern.
Yeah.
But where do we see this in Commander? Much less CEDH.
I don't think we do. Like, it's a stretch for me to put it in an Urza deck, but that's just because Urza can get around it. But even then, the Magus of the Moon's upside is that it turns off all the counter spells. This enables them.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you're dropping this...
Yeah, sure, they don't get access to their other mana. But in decks that, like my 3-color or less blue decks, that I run one basic island in there just so I can still have counter spells in case I get mooned.
Yep. But I mean, there's so many mana rocks.
Right.
There's so many.
I think it's a stretch to see this. I would like to see it in honorable mention. Put it below Necro Dominance.
I'm good with that. All right. Now we're down to our...
The dog is better?
What?
You just agreed that the dog is better?
Yes, the dog is better. Okay, now we're back. I'm sorry.
Real cards.
I'm sorry. I misspoke earlier. This is the most overhyped counterspell in the set.
No, you definitely got it right with the blue flare. That was
no.
This one's actually more versatile.
I knew I'd get you with that one. All right.
It's no swan song. I'm not gonna sit here and say that. This card does do, since we haven't read it yet, is Strix Serenade. It is a blue mana, just 1 blue, instant. Counter target artifact, creature, or planeswalker spell. Its controller creates a 2/2 blue bird creature token with flying. Other than battles, it hits everything that Swansong doesn't hit. The problem with this is this card is solely a defensive card, unless you're defending against an Urtai. Sure, it can counter that. Urtai's OP.
Yes.
So this is not Swansong. They wanted it to be. I love the flavor of it because Baleful Strix is one of my favorite Magic cards from when I first started playing. And I am happy that they finally almost completed the other cycle of targets.
Oh,
However, this card is not Swan Song. Now, what it is a strict upgrade to the people that were playing Stern Scolding.
yes.
Stern Scolding will never see the light of day outside of a bulk box again now if this card exists.
I can agree with that. I will say, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, this has the single best full art treatment out of any card in the set. I will completely agree with
Oh,
that.
I don't know if I agree with you on that one. Those medallions look sick.
I don't know. The
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 medallions are bad cards, but they look sick in
they're
their full
bad
art.
cards, but they're sick. um,
That's like a Johnny's Welcome, dude.
I
A
don't know.
Johnny's Welcome is a bad card, but it's my favorite art.
You caught when I showed you this, you had I don't know how many sweaty face like
Oh, yeah, no, the card
emojis. You had
sucks, don't
like
get me
10 of
wrong. That shit
them.
had me bricked up on a Tuesday night. But it's not. I would still say the medallions are better.
I don't know that, and I'll bring it up here in editing or whatever. We'll put it up there. But the full art is awesome. I think the full art artwork
Absolutely.
is.
And anyone who's seen our videos, especially my CEDH deck, they know I am a slut for
You're a
two
bougie
things.
bitch. We know.
I am a bougie bitch slut for two things. That is borderless magic cards and cheese. And this hits half of it.
Good lord. All right, where are we putting the Baleful Strix counterspell?
I want to put it at play.
We'll put it at playable.
I would say behind the land
I'm putting it
because
right.
it's more versatile than the other cards in the playable set.
I'm putting it above the Warren Soul Trader. I think the Vexing Bauble is more. I think just because it can be searched off of Urza Saga, it's one of very few stack pieces that can be turned off and not completely torpedo the whole board. That would be the only reason I'd put Vexing Bauble over top of Strix Serenade.
So my reasoning for wanting to put it higher is because of the meta right now. If we were in a separate meta, and this is coming from someone who this card like absolutely murders my deck, this card is so good against Sisay. It's the only one mana spell that apart from like Spell Pierce and Pyroblast that'll counter a Planeswalker. It just straight up counters creature spells for one mana. It counters Thassa's Oracle. It counters Dockside. It counters Italian Atraxa for one mana.
You convinced me. We'll put it right behind Horizon of Progress. All right.
All right. I can deal with that one.
Now.
All right. Next up, we have
a legacy card.
Reserved list reprint that I absolutely love because I want to abolish the reserve list. We never read this card. Volatile Storm Drake is 1 in a blue for a creature Drake that is a 3/2. It has flying and hexproof from activated and triggered abilities.
It is hexproof from Bowmaster.
Activated and triggered abilities. So there is a problem there. Which it's a problem, yet also not a problem. They did fix the problem that Gilded Drake had where you could just, target your Gilded Drake that you gave to someone after taking their thing and flicker it back to your board. Like I often do with Amanatu.
Yeah.
They did fix that. Because once it's on your opponent's board, it has hexproof from your stuff.
Yes.
So that is a fix. It's a good thing. I like it. Even as much as I love Gilded Drake, I think that is a good solution. The rest of the card says, whenever Volatile Storm Drake enters the battlefield, exchange control of it and target creature an opponent controls. If you do, you get 4 energy. Then sacrifice that creature unless you pay an amount of energy equal to its mana value. So you can take your Temnas, take your whatever, your medium to small size creatures that our format's filled with. Sure, go take a Sylvala, take anything, right?
Yep.
But this is also a 2 mana removal spell. All the Storm Drake ETBs, I take your Niv Mizzet and then I sacrifice it and I keep my 4 energy. Then I can use that 4 energy for my galvanic discharge and deal 7 damage to someone.
Yeah. I think the best way I kind of describe this card is either an exchange spell or a
Yep.
Pogify.
Yeah.
It's one of the two, based on the number of energy that you have. And heck, if you just really don't want there to be a dockside on the board for some god unknown reason,
Right. You don't have to pay it.
no,
It's an
you just
option.
say, okay, I'm gonna Volatile Storm Drake, and I'm gonna take your Atali, and I'm gonna kill the Atali.
No, you don't want to take Dolly.
I'm just saying, if a big
You
creature
don't
on the
want
board,
Atali. You want Atali to stay on the battlefield.
maybe not Atali like as in the commander, but if Atali's in, let's say, Rog and Thras,
Yeah, that's a different story.
that let's take their whatever card and just kill it. Their combo piece, yeah, I mean they get a 3/2, but you get rid of
Yeah,
essentially a
the
combo
downside
piece.
is, yeah, sure, they get a flying 3/2 with a little bit of evasion, but people already play Resculpt, and that gives you a 4/4.
Yes. Well, it also is it exiles a thing. That's a little bit different. Exiles an artifact or creature. But anyway, this is a great card. And I think this is welcome to print different versions of reserve list cards. I enjoy seeing cards like this.
Absolutely. I love this card. I think this has been the card the CEDH community specifically has been absolutely receptive of. And just for a bit of bias, I want to put it in the busted, even though I know it's not.
You think bust
I will see play. I think it should be first seat in the will see play.
This card is insane. This is Chthonian Nightmare. 1 and a black enchantment. When Chthonian Nightmare enters the battlefield, you get 3 energy counters. You pay X energy counters, sacrifice a creature, return Chthonian Nightmare to its owner's hand, return target creature card with mana X from your graveyard to the battlefield, activate only as a sorcery. Literally, the last part of that sentence is the worst part of the whole card. This card is a reprint of another reserve list card, Reoccurring Nightmare, which is banned in Commander because it is insane. A 2-mana reoccurring nightmare, essentially. Pun intended. This card, if nobody's tracking, this thing goes infinite with a dockside as long as your opponents have three or more artifacts or enchantments on the board.
Which is easy.
Oh, it is. I mean, it's like just a natural state of being.
Even an F% rolling the mana crypt out, someone else has a even Wrist Extender. Well, you probably not Wrist Extender because you got casting spells.
Yeah.
But like an Urza Saga or something, and you're good. You're golden.
For decks that don't run like Emil, because Emil and Dockside, you play it plenty of times, is an infinite. This is
fair, another upside to this is it fuels the Drake. It fuels the discharge. And if you really want to smoke the copium, it fuels the wheel.
And here's another thing that I was going on when I was actually the Kenrith deck. This with Dockside also, while it does make infinite treasures, it makes infinite energies. Infinite energies means, oh, there's a Hullbreaker Horror in my graveyard. There is an Atali in my graveyard. Oh, wait, Atali and both Hullbreaker go infinite with this thing.
Well, you could do that anyways with just reanimating. For 5 mana.
What?
You could have just reanimated Hullbreaker or Atali with Kenrith.
No. What I'm saying is this goes infinite with Hullbreaker because you're casting a spell while say Hullbreaker's on the board. You're
saying it goes infinite agnostic of Kenrith.
Yes.
You're right. You don't need Kenrith in this loop, but that also means you're running two very high-end cards in Kenrith that are already seeing fringe play.
Well, I'm saying either
I'm not
one.
saying it's impossible. I will certainly like to see someone try it out. I have Italy in my Kenrith list, and I know some other people run Hullbreaker because of the evolution list.
Yes.
I don't know about running both, but that is
Oh,
certainly another outlet in WinCon. It's Kenrith has both Kenrith and Italy got a lot of good tools in this set.
yes. But my line with the whole, I wasn't saying run both of them. I'm saying run your choice, whether you want an Itali or a Hullbreaker, whichever one fits your play style the best. But this being it returns to your hand and then you have to cast it. That means you can trigger. Let's say you've done the dockside thing. You've done the dockside thing. You have infinite treasures, infinite energies. You have Hullbreaker Horror, and this you go infinite and bounce everybody else's stuff.
I feel like that's just a win more thing, though.
I mean,
at the point where you're already infinite, if there's not a Draenith out, which is the only thing that would stop you at this point,
yes,
I'm sure there's something else in your graveyard or a way for you to get there to remove said problem.
Yeah.
I think that is a line that is a win more thing.
And it might be.
Unless they're specifically a Draenith, then you just use the Hullbreaker to bounce it.
I mean, I think maybe the Atali line might be better because Atali it actually ends the game. So they just go to upkeep and they lose the game as they go to draw step.
Yes, and with the Atali line, you don't care about Draenith because you're just exiling everyone's decks.
Yes. You're just, I mean, and then you're holding it. I mean, and also your board is massive. This is an insane card. This card is my pick for the best card in the format, but I still think like Nadu.
Format or the set?
I think this is the best one in the set. Maybe not in the format. Yeah. I misspoke, but best in the set.
I was about to say.
Best in the set.
There are things called Ristic Study.
Yes, this is true. No, I misspoke. I think this is the best in the set. So I think this guy goes to
top of busted.
I don't know. I think Nadu. I think I tie it with Nadu and the Chthonian Nightmare.
I agree with that because Nadu can be a standalone card. Chthonian Nightmare does nothing alone.
Yes,
I agree with that. Same with 6. 6 does nothing alone, but 6 is not a combo piece.
Yes. So I think this is our list. If any of you guys have anything, or you think we may have missed a card, or you just think we're a bunch of idiots, we have no idea what we're talking about, let us know in the comments.
Tell me about it. I'll argue with you and tell you why you're wrong in the comments.
God bless. Okay. Well, Guy, do you want to outro us and plug any unnecessary things or necessary things we might need?
Oh, absolutely. I'm always one for shameless plugs. If you see me at a tournament, you'll understand why. Speaking of tournaments, you down below in the description, you can find a list of all the upcoming events we plan on attending. This weekend, I believe, this video should be out before Saturday, hopefully. Yep. But I will be down at the CCS 10K in Stone Mountain, Georgia. Be down there. Hopefully, winning and not scrubbing out so I can play the 2K on day 2. Come see me out there if you see this video beforehand. Love to meet everyone in the community. As well as next month, I will be heading out to the Snowy Summit in Denver, Colorado in July. I believe that is the weekend of the 15th or 13th.
Yep.
Yeah, the 13th of that weekend. I'll be heading out there.
And
come meet me out there. I'm looking forward to getting to meet people that are just not solely on the East Coast. Because if you don't know, we're based out of North Carolina, so that's where we've been mainly traveling. After that, the next event, hopefully both of us can make it out there, would be July 27th at Animate in Raleigh, North Carolina. They have a couple 1Ks out there throughout the weekend, as well as a 15K going on. So come out and see us out there. Come make us work for our money, and hopefully we'll take it down. Apart from that, down in the description below, you can find our Mox Build links, our socials. Come hop on our Discord, get to play games with us. We're in there weekly. And if you can't get with us, there's always other people in there looking for games. Come talk about deck discussions. Come DM us in there and tell us why we're wrong on this tier list. And actually let us know your opinions. We love talking about these kind of things. Hopefully we can continue doing these set reviews for every set. Apart from that, see you next week for weekly CEDH content.
All right. Thank you, guys. Peace.